Wow. Dude, that's gorgeous. Not be hitting the water with without having at least one version of this tied onto your line. I don't know why we keep doing it to ourselves, but 2 days ago on Saturday, we went on a trip, and here it is Monday. We're getting ready to go on yet another tomorrow. And except this time, I promise you, it's gonna be a good fishing trip. I promise you. Now, I'm probably jinxing myself by saying this, but you know, the shoalie has not been cleaned in a long time. Look at this. I feel like this is a true kayaker's kayak. It is dirty, it is gritty, it is loaded down, and it hasn't changed in weeks. But we are going to do a long float tomorrow. We are doing something crazy. We are going to launch a mile up from the start of a 20-mile float. So we are going to do 22 miles tomorrow, and we're going to use the little battery. And this is a battery that I've talked about a lot. You see it buried in there. It's the Lifetime 25 amp hour, 24 volt battery. And we're going to push this bad boy probably to empty. But the water's up, the flows are good. We're gonna do a lot of paddling too. And you know, I link this in every video and people still ask me, this is the Bending Branches Angler Pro. You know, Bending Branches is by far my favorite paddle company. I've had this bad boy for, I wanna say 4.5 seasons now. I've had it since they launched them, and you can tell that I've gotten some usage out of it. It is faded, it is rough looking, it is not pretty, but I fish hard. But if you watched the last video, if you were able to catch the last video, we were throwing mostly jerkbaits, tubes. I think I am gonna make one change and probably try to throw this a little bit more. I've been trying my butt off to catch them on this. Just the conditions have not been right. The water is probably gonna be in the low 40s for most of the day. We do have a lot of warming coming, but I'm gonna try to rig some stuff up that I think is gonna work. But I totally plan on fishing finesse, but I think I might throw the crankbait a little bit tomorrow. And in these warming trend type days, one of the tricks that I like to pull is to throw a moving bait like a crankbait. You know, you just kind of slow roll it off the bottom. I've had a lot of success on our rivers doing that, especially in late January, February, early March. So I'm probably gonna make that change from the last video, which was me throwing mostly jerkbait and tube. So got our batteries charged, we got it loaded down, extra change of clothes, extra pair of bibs, that's important, because if you get wet, your bibs are soaked too. Controller, battery, yeah, we're gonna pack light, need to charge the deeper, but otherwise, we will see you guys at the gate and maybe from the road, because we are leaving early and it's gonna be a cold morning. The cart so people wouldn't say, you drag your kayak too much. You drag your kayak too much. The Boondocks does make it really easy though. Just getting some breakfast in at the last minute. But we are off. We're about to make a real long run. This is a 20-mile float. It's about 7 a.m. So we got about 9 hours to make this happen. So we're gonna gun it, get to the good spots, and hopefully catch some smallmouth. Fish. That's a good one. Oh man, that's a big smallmouth. Dude, that's gorgeous.
Holy cow, my friend.
Look at that smallmouth.
Dude, nice.
Have you ever seen one that gold out here? I've seen them other places like this, but Dude, this might be one of the prettiest fish I've ever caught. Look at this. Dude. Have you ever seen them like this out here?
Mm-hmm.
TRD tube. Man, this thing has an icicle. That is a gorgeous fish. Holy moly. Throw him on the measuring board. Ugh. I get you excited. He is 18 inches. Yeah, just a... Yeah, he's 18. I could probably get him to touch 18 and a quarter if I really wanted to work with him. Look at that. All right, 18 and a quarter inch gold. I'd say that's gold. Out of nowhere on that one.
Bullet.
He annihilated that thing. That's why I was like, that's a fish. That was a no doubter. Should we milk this hole?
I think we should fish it slow. I mean, I was already kind of planning on doing that anyway. I've been bumping this A-rig down through there real nice.
Soon as I pulled back, I knew. Should have weighed him.
It was a good looking fish.
I bet you he was
2.5 pounds.
Yeah.
2 1/3 anyway.
I don't think he would have quite gone 3, but I definitely think he was upper 2s. Dude, I'm really starting to dig these tubes. Just kind of rig. I don't rig them like a Ned rig. I just use like a weedless tube. This is when I wish I had the live scope. I wouldn't have been coming through a lot of those chutes as easy as I've been doing. Like, I would have been working a lot harder, but I could have done it. Honestly, the hardest part would have been the start. There's one. That's another good one. Oh, he's not as big, but he's fast. He looks a lot different than that other one. He's more of got the tiger stripes going. Well, he's golden up a little bit now that I caught him. Little tiger stripe, TRD tube. I got a bunch of these tubes. I think they'll eat that though. I literally think you just have to get it right in front of their face. Oh shit. You want me to stop here and pee or? Oh, there's a tree down right there too. All right, well, this will be interesting. Oh man, the River Olympics. Oh man, that was really dumb. All right, we're gonna have to get really flat to go through this. Wow, I had to get Dude, I think I sit up higher than you or something.
I had to get real low, dude.
Dude, I was like on my ass. That's crazy. Yeah. Dude, the tree slapped down on my deck and almost stole my freaking rods. That one we had to squeeze past. I'm about to just get out and start pulling mine. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm taking my sleep.
So I think you could probably get to like right here, but I would not go past it.
Carrying it to the car.
So we're back in the tackle cave, and I want to talk about a bait that you should not be hitting the water without having at least one version of this tied onto your line, and that is a tube. Now, obviously, I'm fishing the river a lot, and this bait right here is the TRD tube. So this is the tiny one, but I do have some of the bigger ones as well. But we're going to talk specifically about the bait that worked really well today. Now, we fished 20 miles and caught 3 fish. Think about that for a second. That's probably a little demoralizing for a lot of people, but for me, it actually felt kind of rewarding because it was clearly a tough day, and I was able to kind of grind my way to a pretty nice Ozark smallmouth, and honestly, one of the prettiest Ozark smallmouth I've ever caught, and I've caught a lot. So this TRD tubes is basically a 2.75 inch tube, and if you watched my last video, I actually caught a couple fish on it in that as well on a different river. But the way that I was rigging it is a little different than your typical tube. Now, we're going to talk about several different ways that you can go about this, but this right here is the way that I was having success. This is the Ned Lock Z EWG weedless head. So you've seen me talk about this in other videos. This right here has been the way for me, especially with the way the water is this year. There's a lot of crap in the water down low. This was just keeping me from getting snagged. Now, there are several Ned heads that you can use that will also work for this technique. The only problem with the owner blockheads, which is my preferred weedless head, is it's a little big. As you can see when you rig it, it's going to stick out a little bit in the back. So I don't recommend this, but you can't get away with the football version because it is a one size hook. And black and blue is definitely my favorite color in the winter. I don't know why, I just think it kind of checks all the boxes. I would say my second favorite color is probably a PB&J. And if I could get away with it, I think that I would do the open hook. Now there's 2 ways to do the open hook. You can use a head like this, which is this is actually the Great Lakes Finesse tube head. They make it for their juvie craw. It's basically a tube jig head, and it can tuck in there. If you guys want, you guys saw me rig this in one of my last videos. You can do it like that. The cheaper more traditional. And then there's this way, which is more of a Z-Man way and arguably cheaper because these are cheaper jig heads. And that's just a traditional Z-Man finesse head with rigged like that with an open hook. If you can get away with it, I would highly suggest rigging them with the open hook. But since I am fishing a lot of snags, I've had a lot of success with this. So even though we haven't caught a lot of fish this winter to start, I have gone out and put together a pattern that works in any scenario each and every video in January. I caught fish on every single trip. I have yet to have a pure full-out skunk. And it all goes back to these Z-Man Finesse plastics. So I really think it's a mistake to hit the water this time of year without some sort of finesse. I know it's not the most fun way to fish, but if you're like me and you just don't like to sit inside all winter and you gotta have bites, this has been arguably the only way to catch fish lately. Now there is one little sneaky way that you can finesse fish, and it does involve a Z-Man plastic. And if you're a student of my videos, you follow my Instagram, which you really should because it's always popping over there, you've seen me use this, and you might have recognized this from one of our other late fall videos, but That is the Z-Man minnows. You know, it's just a 3-inch minnow. But the secret is that's where the owner blockhead comes in. Now, rigging this one weedless, just like I would the tube, super simple. Just pull it up in there, just like that. I like it weedless. This is just the way I'm always going to throw it, and you just tuck it behind that fin. It's not perfect, but you just tuck it behind that fin like that. And I actually don't texpose this on the minnows. This is a technique that I feel like still flies under the radar, but is deadly because it combines a little bit of movement with a finesse presentation. But that right there is how we do it. And if you're dead set on not throwing a Ned rig, not throwing a ticklers, not throwing a tube, try this out because you can drag this along the bottom. You can hop it, you can swim it, you can straight retrieve it if you find a section where they're actually going to bite it. But that right there is about as deadly as it gets in the winter. And honestly, I'm kind of kicking myself for not bringing this with me on this trip because I know that I would have been able to catch them on this in combo with the tube. So this is a really great 1-2 punch in the winter. You know, Minnow Z, TRD tubes. You know, experiment with your waters though. You know, you guys that are in rockier waters, you can probably get away with open hooks. You guys like me who are on snaggy rivers, you have to probably weedless rig it. So tons of options here. I've kind of run the gauntlet this year when it comes to finesse fishing. And I know a lot of people are going to ask what rod I was using in that. That is actually the NRX Plus 821 Ned rig rod. So it is a high-end rod. I've had that one for quite a few years at this point. But honestly, any medium rod will work. I do like a softer rod in the winter just because I like to be uber finessey. But if you're throwing like the minnows on the owner blockhead, the weedless, definitely consider throwing a heavier, you know, traditional medium. Like I use an X Pride 610 medium. I've used an X Pride 7-foot medium. I've used the Megabass Windbuster to throw this. So a couple options there, but don't leave home without finesse in the winter, guys, especially if you live in the Midwest. Until mid-February, you got to have one on deck. So hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video. It was a fun trip. We're already in the planning for our next one. We're going to mix things up drastically on the next one. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys on the water.